We started with a hit on Debtor's father, gets thrown over the overpass, gets hit by another car, he gets buried in the woods, and then the police officer investigating this case ends up getting murdered. What is going on in this show? Hello. Today we're going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4 of the K-drama Karma. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jess. I love K-dramas and I just want to chat about them. And don't forget to subscribe to be notified of upcoming videos. Oh my God, these people are like absolutely insane. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings, a lot of anger about these characters. So get comfy, grab a drink, and let's just chat about it. So similar to the last video, I'll be talking about the characters in the order they appear in the show. And for this batch of episodes, there are 3 main plot lines that we will be following. And since the show uses nicknames, and I also like using nicknames, all of the nicknames will be in the description below. Let's start off with Debtor. So there's a police officer assigned to the case to go and check his alibi and make sure that he is not a suspect in his father's accident. So the police officer starts going to each of the locations in his alibi, and he's very confused as to like why people remember this man, because typically you don't always remember the people that you happen to pass by, even if it was like for 5 seconds or even for an hour. Specifically, if you come through a lot of customers or you have a lot of clients, you typically wouldn't remember them. So it's to the point where he's confused that everyone happens to remember him. And then at the same time, the fast food employee who we saw him kind of like have a glance at is also confused as to like why she remembers him. And even though it's like so dumb, it honestly kind of makes sense because he needs an alibi, and because of the fact that he made sure everyone would remember him, it kind of works because he technically does have an alibi and they can't disprove that he was there. Thus, did he have a hand in it? I mean, we know he did, but from a police officer's standpoint, obviously he's not sure about what the heck is going on. So meanwhile, Debtor is trying to get his money. So he goes to the insurance office to submit his claim about the fact that his father died and bring in his father's certificate. And while he's there, they decide that they have to review the case for additional information. So they make him wait 3 hours. Oh my God. This man had an attitude the entire time. He literally kept going up to the lady to ask what was going on because other numbers kept getting called. And then he would have like insulting remarks under his breath as well. And I already said most of my feelings about him in episode 1 and 2, so I'm not going to do it again here. But I don't like this man. I already didn't like this man, and further events that are going to happen in this batch of episodes just continue to prove why I didn't like this man. So eventually he's called up to the management office, and we find out that his insurance agent just happens to be the person, the car driver that he blackmailed in episodes 1 and 2, which is just so like, it's just poetic justice because it's just like exactly what he deserves. So you would think that after he blackmailed this car driver into giving him money, threatening that he would go to the police and say that he was drunk driving, you would think that after that, he would have a little bit of grace, a little bit of tact, a little bit of respect, specifically because he's the one that needs something. But no, this man is up in arms about the fact that the police have not ruled this as an accident. So the insurance company cannot give him the money until the case has been closed, and he is getting like super violent. He's like throwing things around the room. He's like banging his chair, kind of also like threatening the insurance agent. And the insurance agent is like, whoa, you kind of need to like chill out a bit because I'm the one who's doing you a favor. And if I say you're not getting the money, you're not getting the money. So you should be a little more respectful towards me and a little nicer. And then all of a sudden his attitude changes. He starts like respecting him. He starts like being polite. He even starts using like honorifics towards him and everything and just like apologizing. And I was like, this is perfect. And specifically after the way he treated this man, this is exactly what he deserves. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it this entire time. Afterwards, he goes to the funeral and someone from the funeral hall approaches him about the fact that they need money for the funeral arrangements. And he is just like, you see the donation box over there? Just go take it. and use that to pay it off. And I was like, what? And then he decides he's just going to lay down instead of doing his obligation to greet people who are mourning his father, because he is the only sole survivor, sole child of his father. But instead he decides he's just going to lay down and doesn't care about anything that's happening. And then this is where Foreigner shows up, because Foreigner has been trying to call him. And this man, we already know this man doesn't answer phone calls when he owes people money. Literally owes someone money again, which is also how he ended up in this situation in the first place. But he decides that he's not going to answer those calls. So Foreigner says, I'm going to show up. And he shows up to the funeral demanding his rightfully deserved money. And while Foreigner is there, he provides some context in terms of what happened. So he mentions that he ran over his father, which is what he was assigned to do. But his father didn't die, which is so ridiculous. His father didn't die. And then somehow his father saw his face, which is how he ended up getting thrown over the overpass. Honestly, that part is still a little fuzzy to me. They also didn't show him throwing the body over the overpass. So it's a little unclear in terms of what exactly happened. And it feels like there should be some kind of twist or something, because the show has yet to explicitly shown him as the one who threw it over the overpass. And essentially Foreigner is saying that he needs his money by end of the week because he did his job, and Debtor at the same time is like, why should I give you the money? You did not do your job because you didn't do it correctly. There is now a police investigation. So Foreigner says, you have until the end of the week, and if you don't, I will just go to the police, because he has a recording that Debtor gave him himself of him orchestrating the entire hit. And as they are having this conversation, the police officer who is assigned to the case sees this interaction, and then he sees the recorder in Foreigner's hand. And what does this man do? He decides to follow the Foreigner. So I don't know what this man is doing. He's a police officer. Why is he following this man by himself? He didn't call backup. He didn't wait till like the middle of the day so that he could sneak there without anyone seeing him. But instead, he sneaks into their van while Foreigner and his friends are near the van. He finds the recording, and just as he's about to leave, he gets caught by Foreigner, and Foreigner kind of makes it seem like he doesn't know what's going on, but eventually he does. And then he kills the police officer. So somehow we started with a hit on Debtor's father, gets thrown over the overpass, gets hit by another car, he gets buried in the woods, and then the police officer investigating this case ends up getting murdered. What is going on in this show? And then after he kills the police officer, he looks up and there's a surveillance camera. So now he contacts Debtor and is like, I had to kill this police officer because of you. And he believes that Debtor was the one who sent him. So he's like, you have 24 hours to give me my money, because now I need to flee and I need to go to China because I cannot stay here, specifically since I killed a police officer. What is going on in the show? Also, why are these people so terrible? And then this is where the story ends for these two characters in terms of this batch of episodes. Next up is Glasses. So at the end of episode 2, we see that the witness happened to find the place where Glasses works and pays him a visit. And while he's there, he says that he needs another 30 million won to keep his part of the agreement in terms of keeping silent. This man is absolutely nuts, because after blackmailing this man, he says white thing and then leaves the office with a smile on his face. And I'm like, this man is insane, like actually insane, which is what I said in the last episode to the fact that after they buried the body, he seemed totally fine with the entire situation. He was not caught off guard whatsoever. So Glasses, I mean, rightfully so, is kind of annoyed by this entire situation, which I guess not rightfully so. Let me take that back, because he did bury someone in the woods. So he's annoyed by the situation, and he goes to the mechanic to get his car back. And while he's there, the mechanic mentions that it's a little weird that only the top of his car was damaged rather than the bumper, specifically since he said he got hit by a deer. The mechanic is like, oh, I didn't know deers could just like jump on top of cars, which gets glasses thinking about what actually happened. So I actually missed this in episode 1 and 2, specifically on my first watch. And as I was editing the video, I noticed that you really have to go like frame by frame and like pause it. But you see that the body actually came from above rather than like in front of the car. And this is also proven when Glasses takes a look at his dash cam footage. We can literally see the body coming from above. So the body was just like came from somewhere in midair, and then the car just happened to hit it. So he never intentionally like hit the body because he just never saw anyone there, because there was never anyone there, even though that doesn't excuse anything that they were doing in the car. But he technically, it was not his fault that he hit the body. And then as he continues to review the dash cam footage, he sees that up on the overpass was the witness. Which is a little confusing because we also still have yet to see anyone actually throw the body off. We don't know why the witness was there. But essentially, he decides that the witness was possibly the one who orchestrated this whole thing, especially because he keeps asking him for money. So he wants to take down the witness. So this is where things get unhinged. So he meets up with Yu Jung, and they're in the car, and he's like giving out all of this evidence, and they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And then in the midst of this conversation, Yu Jung kind of like drops her facade because she's smoking, and then he's asking about the fact that she's smoking because he's never seen her smoke. And then she just gets really upset, and she says, I can't believe you like actually asked a woman to give you money and then whined about it. And she goes a step further, and she pulls open her phone and pulls out her DMs, and she was like, you think I want to be with a loser like you? I have all these guys in my DMs who want to take me out and spoil me, and your breath stinks. So I can't believe you had the audacity to be asking me for money when I'm the one who's the catch here. And this man loses his mind. He cannot fathom that she said those things to him. So he proceeds to start choking her in the car. Wild. I already said this man is extremely dangerous. As that's happening, all of a sudden we see someone approach the car, and it happens to be the witness who's looking so clean, and then he knocks out Glasses. Park Hae-soo is so fine. If you've watched Prison Playbook or Money Heist, where he was Berlin, like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So when he first appeared on the show, I didn't mind this kind of version of him. I thought it was like okay, but I was like, where is this feels so bad to say, but I was like, where is the hot version of him? Like, where is that version of him? And I'm so glad that the show is like finally delivering on his hot, chaotic energy, because that is exactly what I want. Even if he's an awful person, this is exactly what I want. But I'm going to stop there because I could probably go on and on about this man. So it turns out that the witness and Yu Jung actually know each other, and this has been part of some long con question mark. It's never clear in terms of what they wanted to get out of this situation, but they decide that they're going to take him to a location in their hometown and bury him. So as they are literally digging a hole, honestly, the whole scene was so funny because she's complaining about the fact that she just got her nails done, and he was like, I don't care, you're a criminal, dig the hole. And as they're digging, Glasses wakes up, and he just scooches into the driver's seat, and the key is there, which at that point I was like, I can't believe these people suck at being criminals. If you knock someone out and left them in your car, not even the trunk of your car, but in the passenger seat, why would you not take the keys out so that in the event that they woke up, specifically because you knocked them out, in the event that they woke up, they would not be able to get away? And that's exactly what happens. So he gets into the seat, and just as he's about to leave, he notices that Yu Jung is laughing and having a grand old time and is smiling. And then he remembers all the negative things that she said about him right before he got knocked out. And this man accelerates the car, hits her, and essentially wedges her between the car and the building that's there. And he keeps plowing into her, even though she's already stuck. And essentially, she dies. And I was not prepared for that. I was literally not prepared for us to lose one of these characters. So now we're down to 5. Witness, who was hiding in the hole, saw everything that happens, and he gets up, literally hits Glasses in the head with a shovel. Glasses is like, oh, I'll give you more money. Witness doesn't believe him, and it goes back and forth for a little bit, and then Glasses just like shoves the shovel into him multiple times and killed him. And now we are down to 4. Oh my God. Like, I don't know what's going on in this show. Like, I was like shocked. I was gagged. I was gooped. I literally any word that you could think of about the situation, because we literally just lost 2 characters who literally have their own plotline. We lost 2 kind of like integral characters within 5 minutes of each other, and I didn't expect them to go like back to back. I don't know. Maybe I thought it would be like a little bit more satisfying in terms of the way they die, but I don't know what's going on. Also, I kind of said it in the last video, but Glasses is extremely dangerous. And it's specifically because he kind of presents himself as kind of like innocent, shy, and awkward, but he's so like quickly and easily able to flip the switch. So he kind of seemed like the innocent, shy, awkward phase in the beginning. And then as soon as he was rejected by a woman, as soon as he was insulted by a woman, the way that he responds is by lashing out and becoming violent. And it's kind of just indicative of who he is as a person, and to the fact that, one, he doesn't respect women, which is very clear in like his first sentence in the show. But at the same time, he just doesn't care, and he believes that, like, again, his life is more valuable than hers, and how dare a woman reject him after everything that she has done for him. So he ends up, in the end result, killing her, and then he gets killed right after. And honestly, good riddance, because I didn't like him, so peace out, sir. And the detectives who were following Glasses happened to be in the building next door again, and they saw this whole situation go down, so they have photos of the witness killing Glasses. And finally, we meet our last player in this entire scenario, and that is Doctor. I am very glad that we finally had the opportunity to kind of meet her and figure out how she fits into this entire situation. Before I begin, I will put the disclaimer out there that in episode 4, and we're going to talk about a little bit here, but there is sexual assault that happens. I don't think the show put any kind of disclaimer or any kind of warning, and I hate when shows don't do that. But it does happen, and I was also kind of caught off guard when we got to that point in the story. So just wanted to let you know in case you want to exit from the video, or if you choose not to watch the show going forward. So we learned that Yoo Jung, who was just killed, and Doctor actually were in the same class because they went to the same school, and there was some sort of competition in terms of who would be the face of the school for an upcoming pamphlet. And Doctor was the one who was chosen, even though it wasn't really her choice. But Yoo Jung was really upset about that and decided to essentially get revenge. So she befriended Doctor and kind of set her up on a blind date. So the person that she set her up with, the person she went on a blind date with, happened to be Debtor. So the date, for the most part, went really well. But when they were walking home, they were attacked by 2 men, and both of them were beaten up. And then Yoo Jung was tied up, taken to some sort of abandoned building, and then she was assaulted. Later on, when she went to the police station and they rounded up the suspects, that is when she learned for the first time that the guy that she had went on a date with happened to be one of the assailants who was behind the whole thing. I'm not sure if she actually ever learned that Yoo Jung was also behind this and had kind of also set that up. The show really doesn't really clarify her feelings on Yoo Jung, so hopefully we get to that in the next set of episodes. Also, the show doesn't really give that much detail in terms of if the assailants even faced any consequences, and I'm assuming not, just because I've watched a bunch of shows where, 1, they were minors, and then 2, sadly, that's just how society is. So back to the present day, the Doctor is clearly not okay. She has not been sleeping for, I don't know, like 20, 30 years ever since the incident happened. She is just not okay. And then hearing the name of Debtor kind of sends her into a spiral, to the fact that she's clearly not okay. She's also not able to focus, and everyone at the hospital is starting to notice and starting to ask questions. So the guy who works with her happens to be, I think, her fiance, and he very clearly notices that something is going on, and he's like asking her about it. She's shutting him down. I was so frustrated because she's just closing herself off. She doesn't want to talk about it. And at the same time, I was wondering, does he even know that any of this happened? I'm assuming not. I'm assuming that she never told him about it, but she is not telling him about anything. And he clearly knows something is up because he catches her sneaking into the boss's office to print patient records for Debtor. And he's questioning her about it, and she's still not saying anything at all. While she's at the hospital, she runs into a former police officer who is now a private investigator. We're going to call him Boss PI. And she hires him to track down her assailants, and he discovers that 2 of them are dead. One took their own life in prison, and the other one overdosed. And the last one is Debtor, and he says that Debtor is actually in a coma at the hospital where she currently works. And at the same time, we also find out that the 2 PIs who were following Glass's work for him. So literally everything in the show is somehow connected. And back to the hospital, in a shocking turn of events, it turns out that Debtor is actually not Debtor. The witness is pretending to be Debtor. He's using his name. So when the police come to speak to him and ask for his statement in terms of what happened to him, he says that someone knocked him out while he was in his car, tied him up. He saw 2 men arguing, which I'm assuming is Debtor and Foreigner, and then he was set on fire. And obviously, because of the fact that his fingers have been burned, there's no way for the police to run his DNA to see if he's even telling the truth, which is a little too coincidental for me. A little too coincidental that they can't check for him. It kind of feels like he set this whole thing up. Don't you agree? But obviously, Doctor doesn't know that he's not the real man because she hasn't seen him in so long. So she believes him to be her assailant. And when she confronts him about the fact that he doesn't remember who she is, he looks at her and says that the Park Hae-young, which is Debtor's name, the guy that you knew doesn't exist anymore. And then he laughs. He laughs in her face and then walks away. Wild. And in my favorite episode of the show so far, she says, "I'll finally be able to sleep because I'm going to kill you." And I was like, yes, that's my girl. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Like, you go and get your revenge because you deserve this. I'm happy that we finally got more information on the Doctor and learned more about her trauma as well as her piece kind of in this puzzle. I will say that I wasn't really thrilled by the backstory. Just a personal pet peeve of mine, but I don't like when shows and other medias use sexual assault as a way to advance a plot line. It's just not something that I like, but it happens all the time. It's not much we can do about it. Anyways, the people in this drama, truly despicable. We saw 2 of them die at the hands of 2 other people who are involved in these webs of deception. And I am so excited for this takedown of Witness. Like, the fact that the Witness's demise is going to come from the fact that he literally just chose the wrong name. Honestly, if he happened to be any other person, if he had said any other name, he would not be in the situation that he's about to be in. But the fact that he happened to choose the name of her assailant, he probably chose the name because he was probably trying to steal from him. But the fact that he chose the name, the one name that affects her most, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for how he's going to die in the show because he has to, right? Because they all do. I also do have a bunch of questions for the show. If you have the answers, feel free to comment them down below. But why did he use Debtor's name? And also, like, how does he even know who Debtor is? Why was the witness at the overpass, like as shown in the dash cam footage, when the body was being thrown over? Also, who threw the body over? Because we still have yet to see footage of that. Also, what was the long con in terms of Witness and Yoo Jung, because we still haven't really been given any information. Like, was it just to take his money, or were they planning to kill him eventually? Also, why was Glasses being followed by the PIs? They haven't really given us a conclusion or information on what was going on there. Hopefully all of this is answered in the episodes next week. If not, I feel like I'm probably gonna have to do a rewatch because I might have just missed some tiny pieces of dialogue that answers all of those questions. What are my predictions for next episode? 1, I think it was the witness who killed Debtor so that he could take his name. 2, I feel like Doctor's fiance is going to be outed as sus. I don't know. It was just something about the edit that they were giving him, especially when they were talking about the fact that he was away the previous night. It just feels a little weird, and it just feels like there's something going on, like more information is going to be revealed about that. Lastly, I feel like Doctor is going to kill Witness, and it's going to be at the location where the assault happened. So I think from the visuals that was shown in the show that the location where the assault happened to also be the place where they were going to bury Glasses, which also happened to be the place where Glasses and Yoo Jung got murdered, as well as I think it's also the building where the bodies were burnt. So much is happening in this one abandoned building. So I assume that is the same setting, and because all of this kind of started there, I think it's going to go all the way full circle, and that's where the final revenge is going to take place. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on these set of episodes, your theories in terms of how everyone is connected, and what's going to happen in the next set of episodes. And on that note, have a great day, and I will see you guys next week for the finale of Karma.